Hello students, today's topic that we are going to look into is known as prepositions. What is the meaning of prepositions? A preposition is a word which precedes a noun or a pronoun. That means it will always be before a noun or a pronoun to show the relation between the object and the person, because the object and the person both belong to the noun category. For example, Kevin plays with the ball. Now over here, the preposition is with. Why? Because it shows us the relation between the ball and Kevin. Kevin being the noun and the ball being the object. Let's look at the second example given over here. The board is behind him. Over here, the preposition is behind. It tells us the position of the board, which again is a noun, in relation with the pronoun that is him. Students, now that we've seen what are prepositions, let's look at the different types of prepositions. We have three different types of prepositions: simple, compound and phrasal. So let's look at the first one, and that is the simple preposition. We have certain words in simple prepositions like at, in, by, of, for, on, over, under, up to, from, out and etc. So let's see what are the difference between these words when they are placed in a particular sentence and how they can enhance or tell the person what the sentence means. Let's look at the first example that is given over here. Mr. Bose lives in Mumbai. Mumbai being a large city. That means in Mumbai, we know that he lives in the city of Mumbai, but not a specific location. So we cover a large area. The second example tells us Mr. Bose lives at Bandra. Bandra being situated inside Mumbai. That means now we narrow the location to a smaller area. That is why when he say we live at Bandra, it becomes a small area. The third example tells us that Mr. Bose lives on 5th floor. The smallest area giving us the specific location where Mr. Bose lives. That is, he lives on the 5th floor. Tells us his exact position. Now let's see how we go about with the compound prepositions. The compound prepositions, that means they are two words, or rather they will connect two objects with their help to form a meaningful sentence. Words like across, along, besides, beneath, between, among, inside, etc. So let's look at these examples, how a compound preposition will connect two objects to make a meaningful sentence. There is a bridge across the river. Across the river cannot be under the river. Why? Because this bridge is going to connect the two banks of the bridge where we can cross from one way to the other and come back to the same position. And that is why it is known as across the river. The second example tells us the village is beyond the hill. Over here, the preposition is beyond, and that is to go a distance. Where is the hill? In a specific place. And where is the village? You have to go beyond that hill. That means a little much more further from where you are at the hill. The third example over here says, I shall finish his work within a month. Over here, the preposition is within a month. That means a limited time frame, but not a specific time frame. Within a month means I may be able to finish the work within 2 days, 20 days, 12 days, or even on the last day of the month. because the time frame given to me is within a month. So in this way, students, you have to differentiate between the simple prepositions and the compound prepositions. For the simple reason, every word changes its meaning as it's placed in a sentence. Now we go to the last one, and that is known as the phrasal preposition. A little bit complicated but not very difficult, because once we understand what is a phrase, it becomes very easy for all of us to put them in the correct order. A phrase means a group of words, but incomplete words. They need the support of the other words to make a meaningful sentence. So let's see what are the phrasal prepositions. Instead of, because of, in order to, in spite of, with reference to, along with. So let's see a few examples of these phrasal prepositions. I couldn't go out because of the rain. Over here, because of is your phrasal preposition. This is your reason. Why couldn't you go out? Because it was raining. And that is known as the reason for not going out of your house. The second example is, he will work hard in order to win. In order is your phrasal preposition, and this is a condition. Why will he work hard? In order to win. Because he wants to win, he will work hard. So that means there is a condition for him to work hard. And the last one is, Rohan will come along with his brother. Over here, we have along with. Along with means always, together. Rohan and his brother will come together. So, to make it into a simple sentence, we use the word along with. So, students, in this way, we divide the prepositions into three categories: simple, compound and phrasal. Okay, students, now we have finished with the three different types of prepositions. That was the simple, compound and phrasal. But like in all subjects where you find little bit difficult, even in prepositions, you have few words which are known as tricky prepositions. Now let's see why they are known as tricky prepositions. They are known as tricky prepositions because they confuse us. And let's see how we can identify and differentiate the confusion. So the first example that we are going to see is beside and besides. The difference here is of one letter, that is the letter S. But the addition of this or the minus of this will change the entire meaning of your sentence. So let's see the examples. The first one over here is, there is a tree beside the bench. Over here we see that the letter S is missing. So beside means near. The tree is near the bench. A little further, a little closer, but somewhere near the bench. The second example, she knows French besides English. The addition of this letter S changes the entire meaning. Besides means in addition to. That means she knows French and also she knows English. So in this way, the first tricky preposition beside means near, besides means in addition to. Moving on to the second one. Let's see the difference between and among. Between means two. We differentiate between two things, their qualities, unsimilarities, their physical appearance or their structure. Over here, when we say between, it means just two. He dances between two trees. That means the boy is dancing between two trees. between will always be followed with the numerical 2. Whereas among means a group. It can be 4, 10, 15 or even more. The example that shows it, he dances among the trees. We do not know the exact number of the trees. Moving on to the next one, and that is to and towards. Over here, to means a destination, that is the end of your journey. Rima goes to school. She leaves her home and reaches the school. So from home to school, end of her journey. She has reached her destination and the destination is the school. Whereas when we say Rima walks towards the school, we mean the direction. In which direction is Rima going? She is going towards the school. She has still not reached the destination, but yes, very soon she will be reaching there. Let's see the third example, that is in or inside. Now, when we say in or inside, it always means an enclosed space. An enclosed space can be a car, a room, a house, a hall, anything which is completely covered. Whereas when we use the word in, it is for the open space. He lives in this room. Room being an enclosed space. A room has 4 walls. It's covered. It's closed. He lives inside the room. He lives in the room. For the open space, we will be saying there is pollution in the air. Air which is everywhere. So, please remember students, in for enclosed space, again in for open space. Over here, you have to understand the difference in the sentence. When it means room, it's enclosed. When it means air, it's an open space. Moving on to the next, opposites and in front of. When I say opposite, students, right now when I am talking to you, you and I are opposite each other. That means we are facing each other. Whereas when I say in front of you, we are standing in the same direction. You can be in the same direction when you stand in a line. He is standing in front of me in the movie theater. That means you're not facing each other. Let's see how it goes with your examples. She is standing opposite the dog. Over here, this means the dog and the girl are facing each other. Whereas she is standing in front of the dog means she and the dog are looking in the same direction, one behind the other. The last one, along and across. Along means parallel. It will never intercede. They are walking along the seashore. Over here, along means you are parallel. You are not walking in the water. You are walking on the sand, but the sand is parallel to the sea. And that is the reason we say they are walking along the river or the seashore. The old man swam across the river. Now over here, like I mentioned, across, from one side to another. If you can go from one side to another side, you can equally come back from that side to your original place. And that is the reason you will never say the old man swam along the river. You can never swim along the river. You always have to swim across the river. So students, these are known as your tricky prepositions. Beside, besides, between, among, to, towards, in, inside for enclosed space and in for open space. Opposite, in front of, along and across. I hope students Now this will help you to identify the prepositions so that you can place them perfect in your sentences to make a complete and a meaningful statement.